So I was 12 years old when I moved into West Orange, and I remember it vividly because it was the night that Elvis Presley had his comeback tour on NBC, and it was a big deal. So, what I remember about growing up here was this community was small, and Moshe Zaidel was the shamus. He was in charge of doing aliyahs and learning the Torah, and pretty much making sure that none of us did any mischief around the shul. And we were always called upon to make the minyan, and you'd always see Moshe sitting outside his house, which was alongside the shul. The community was smaller. There weren't a lot of Orthodox families here. But one thing that I always remember that was vivid is that it was made up of such a diverse number of people, Orthodox, non-Orthodox. So at that time, in December of '68, no one could have imagined that West Orange was going to grow into a huge Jewish community. People that came from Newark, old timers that had come from Newark, people that had been living here, that broke away from the Jewish center. People weren't necessarily Shomer Shabbat, but they wanted to have a Jewish community. They wanted to have a yeshiva. They wanted to have day schools. It's not like today. There's hundreds of kids that go to that go to JC and go to Kushner, and we were together like every Shabbos. It was very intimate, kind of friendly community. My brother and I were very close, and then eventually, by the mid '70s, people started moving in, and it grew. I wanted my kids to be close to their grandparents. I thought it'd be great for them to have a grandfather that's the rabbi in the community. That was really important. That's kind of unique. I looked at all the other communities, and really, to me, West Orange was unique, different, totally different. It's a totally different community than it was when I was a kid. There were so many more opportunities for the kids to go out and to meet people and to have friends. I always thought it was kind of interesting that the shul, the community here in West Orange, was brought over from this synagogue that was in Avon Avenue in Newark. And then once you start looking at what happened to Newark, this kind of overnight sensation where the place was devastated. And literally it was overnight. In 5 years, the community went from having 60 synagogues and 60,000 Jews to having no synagogues or 2 synagogues. I was in Newark one day, and I was just driving down High Street, and I'd pass what was B'nai Jeshurun, which was one of the Reform synagogues, and there's this huge synagogue which looks beautiful. It had the luchos in the front, and in front of it was hanging a cross. And it was like that juxtaposition. And we started just driving around Newark. At that time, you didn't go in. It just wasn't the kind of place you'd go through on foot with thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment. In the case of our synagogue, was a Baptist church, and it became a synagogue. And that is really points to this idea life is so transient. You really don't know what you think things are going to last forever, but nothing really does. The Metro West Jewish community was in Newark was very organized. They categorized all the synagogues back in the 20s and 30s, and that just kind of really was intriguing to me and got me really interested in where we came from, what our community was about, who were the people that made the synagogue, who are the people that came before us, and what does it all mean? Let me tell you the story that Morris Raven, when my father came here and was being interviewed, one of the things that Morris Raven said to him, he said, this is the community now. It's not really much to look at, but he said, but if you want to build it, Rabbi, you can build a community here. People like that, like Morris Raven, again, it wasn't an Orthodox guy, but who said he wanted to have a Jewish community, he wanted to have an Orthodox community, he wanted to have a yeshiva, he wanted all those things. So one of the things that Lee Kahn told me about my dad when he came here was that my dad had this vision, the shul should be open to everybody. Doesn't matter where you are in terms of your Yiddishkeit, and that's really kind of his mantra. I never knew who the people were from Ahavas Achim that came from Newark, or who the people were from B'nai David. If you think about it, 2 different cultures. There was a synagogue in West Orange, a synagogue in Newark. They were brought together. For so many years, it was just the one shul. We still call it the big shul. But it was very unique in that sense. And I really attribute it to my dad, just to really put his ego at the door and just love the community, love the people, and build it up that way. There were times when we would have dinner, and my father was a no-show. He wasn't around. And my mother would say, go across the street, go to the shul, see where your father is. And I'd go into the shul, and he'd be like cleaning the chalkboards, or he'd be like mopping the floor. And I go, Dad, what's going on? He goes, well, they didn't necessarily have anybody to do that. And that he just said, we got to do it. And there wasn't anything that he wouldn't do for the shul. And she was really supportive of him in doing that. So, when you look at the community, it really was a group effort by my parents.